Bastion gets the full smackdown farm down. We're in the 1-to-1 shield. We've got a very easy way of denying this energy, sending out Sableye and winning CMP. Game like nah, have one turn bring in, ends up being delayed CMP, and just like that, this game's flipped on its head. Welcome back to the channel. Yet another day of battling and yet more terrible game state from Niantic / Scopely / the Pokemon Company. I don't know who needs to hear this, but fix this bloody game. We're currently having somewhat of a heat rave here in the UK, and I don't really need to be getting stressed at a game and making myself even more hot and flustered. Honestly, this game's probably in its worst state I've ever seen. I'm an OG, been playing all the way since pre-season. However, with all that being said, today we've got a very powerful team that was able to climb despite me more or less taking one instant loss every single set. Due to the current game state, my use of glass cannons is somewhat limited. We're using an anti-fighter with two bulky tanks are weak to fighting in the back. It really is that simple. With all that being said, without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, we lead Shadow Sableye into Kanto Ninetales, some Shadow on Shadow crime. Nice to catch Ninetales in the lead position. Cradily certainly doesn't want to see it. For the first two battles I'm running Bullet Seed. I wasn't really sure what quick move I wanted to use, but we are shortly going to switch over to Acid. You can see in the battle of fast move pressure, Ninetales very much outpacing Sableye. Sableye going to shield the Weather Ball, return fire with the next foul play. If the opponent 2 shield, I'm kind of obliged to switch out here rather than conceding a farm down. I send out Lapras, the opponent farms to the overheat. Probably a Weather Ball bait, but sometimes it's better to be safe than sorry. We invest to protect shield, unfortunately getting baited with the Weather Ball, and out comes Big Man Blastoise. This is where Skull Bash is certainly going to come in handy, with the ability to hit for neutral damage and heavy neutral damage at that. Blastoise farms up to the Skull Bash, and as we've got no shield, if they're running Skull Bash, we will be getting removed from the field of play. Clearly the opponent has Ice Beam as a coverage move, and this puts Lapras in a prime position. Lapras shrugs off the second Hydro Cannon, gonna commit to that full Sidewave farm down, leaving with a charge move good to go. We're looking top right, let's see what comes out. Out comes Drifblim, we pivot into Cradily, the opponent tries for the Rock Tomb catch onto Ninetales, the catch attempt unsuccessful. We're going to tank the Weather Ball, throw 2 Bullet Seeds, which is alignment, but we aren't going to take that next Ember. Rock Tomb will be moving them from the field of play. Do we have enough health to survive the next Astonish? Yes, we do. We're going to force the opponent's hand. Icy Wind will be moving me from the field of play. The opponent is now going to be 4 Astonishes off the next Icy Wind. I'm actually going to send out Sableye. Attempt to reach a move. We don't reach a move, but there's still one off. That means I can throw 1 Sire Wave and the Sparkling Aria. And we should have Shadow Clawed him into a range. The Sparkling Aria is lethal. Lapras 1 HP in a dream, and we take that game. In the next battle, we see Cradily in the lead position. You'd think a Ghost type into a Grass type running a Poison type quick move. This would be an advantageous matchup for me. Not really in the 2 shield scenario, because of course the opponent's going to shield the first move, debuff my attack, and this just continues to get worse and worse over time. As my attack's at -1, we're going to bank a boatload of energy, try for the catch onto Cradily. My catch attempt unsuccessful. We can tank any one move. The opponent fire off the Grass Knot. We're also going to go for the Grass Knot, as Grass Knot does do more than the Rock Tomb. I'm going to try and remove this Cradily from the field of play. Unfortunately, Grass Knot doesn't get the job done. We're just going to completely sacrifice Cradily to the Pokegods. We've got all the energy in the world on Sableye. We're going to send out Lapras for a small energy lead. As the opponent stayed in, I had a pretty good feeling they didn't have a fighting type in the back. Out comes Malamar. We farm up, go for the CMP sack. Firstly, that's a nice play if I do say so myself. But like a potato, I hit the wrong move. I clearly want his Dazzling Gleam and look to force the final protection or cleanly knock him out. We end up finding ourselves in somewhat of a tricky spot. But undeterred, we're going to overfarm, fire off the foul play, removing them from the field of play. Out comes Feraligatr. Feraligatr gets an energy lead. We just got to be mindful of the opponent trying to make a catch onto that Cradily. The opponent goes for the catch. That's not happening. Back out comes Gator. We full send the Skull Bash. Does the opponent respect the damage? They do not. We pick up the 1-hit KO through the Protect Shield and take that game. In the next battle, we see Scizor in the lead position. Certainly where the team wants to see it, my backline is going to be awful into this threat. You can see just how glassy Shadow Scizor is. These Shadow Claws are tearing through the HP. I overfarm, fire off the foul play, forcing my Protect Shield back. The opponent then tried to make a catch onto Mandibuzz. I bank a Gleam for the road and send out Lapras. Despite not having Ice Beam, of course, these are blind battles. The opponent doesn't know my movesets. We're just going to use Lapras to soak some energy. We're always going to farm up to the Ice Beam and just go straight Sparkling Aria. I don't actually care if I win this mid-game matchup. We're just going to try and put this Mandibuzz in a range where we can just acid farm him down. Shadow Lapras is such a bulky monster. Even in his shadow form, it's able to shrug off back-to-back Dark Pulses. Here I recognise I'm probably only reaching one further move, so I'm going to maximise my damage, throw in the Skull Bash, looking to force the energy off this Mandibuzz, and we're able to do exactly that. I've kind of put myself in a tricky position here. We can acid farm this thing down, but then Scizor is going to return and get a huge amount of farm. The opponent switch back out into Scizor. We don't throw anything, just trying to maximise the Shadow Claw damage. At this point, we're just going to tank this charge move. We'll certainly put in a range where we can resist it acid farm down. Hopefully, Cradily with a huge energy lead will be able to clean up. The opponent sends out Lapras. In a scenario like this, I think you should always go Grass Knot. Grass Knot does do more. Grass Knot sneaks through the protection, and this now sets a wink on a fast move beating down everything. Lapras going to be desperately looking to reach the back-to-back Sparkling Arias, but Cradily with that Shield Turbo, I'm going to be investing here. The opponent doesn't reach the second Sparkling Aria. We're able to acid farm down the remainder of the team and escape with a dub. GG's to that opponent. I picked up this team when I was 1-1 in the previous set, was able to go 3-0, 4-1 overall, and finally hit veteran rank in Season 23's Go Battle League. For being brutally honest, this was probably one of the hardest challenges ever, as every single set we seem to take one loss, meaning we kind of start the set 1-0. Kind of is what it is. Heading into the next battle, we see Fortress in the lead position. Another Pokemon we're appreciative to see in the lead, as the backline doesn't do particularly well into it. Of course, Fortress going to shield the first move and likely look to fire off a Rock Tomb to debuff my attack. The opponent actually fire off a Sand Tomb, meaning the Bug Bites will do more, but they haven't debuffed this Foul Play, and this Foul Play at full health going to do massive damage. The opponent then pivots out into Marowak, and I respond quick enough to save Sableye, and Lapras hits the field of play. As I've only got one shield, and I call the opponent's going to force on the Rock Slide and do exactly that, and then going to look to throw 8 Sideways and the Sparkling Aria. I'm not sure what happened there. I think we desynced. That wasn't even CMP. Again, game state. Don't ask. Just roll with it. Whatever at this point. We fire off the Sparkling Aria, removing Marowak from the field of play. Back out comes Fortress. They are lower than me, but I don't think I can Sideway farm them down before they Bug Bite farm me down. Sparkling Aria removes them from the field of play. Out comes Diggersby. Diggersby does get a nice quick attack farm down, but Cradily very advantageous in this matchup, even if you do opt for acid. The quick attacks are resisted, and 2 Scorching Sands don't remove you from the field of play. They've got a shield, but you better believe we're just going to full send the Grass Knot. Grass Knot sneaks through the Protect shield, and we should be home and dry. We're going to farm up, make the catch back onto Sableye. Completely unnecessary, but it's always nice to make a catch sometimes. Back out comes Cradily, and at this point we can just go straight Rock Tomb. The opponent obliged to shield everything. Even a resisted Rock Tomb will knock them out. Rock Tomb forces the opponent's final Protect shield. They end up playing to the CMP tie. They do not win, and the BM Rock Tomb is going to be all she wrote. GG's to that opponent. Heading into the next battle, we need Shadow Sableye into Lantern. I have not seen this silly electric fish in a very long time. I guess it's got play nowadays. It's great into stuff like Scizor anyway, as the bullet punches are resisted and the one-turn water gun will really chunk. We're able to land the Foul Play. I am going to shield this up. I'm potentially going to look to catch a Surf onto Lapras. Let's see how this one plays out. The opponent save switch into Scizor. We are down a Protect shield and in a dire situation. We're just going to feed this thing free energy. We fire a Foul Play, which of course goes shielded. We get fully Bullet Punch farm down. I already recognise I can't beat this threat, and I am going to concede the match. GG's to that opponent. In the next battle, we found ourselves another tricky Pokemon. Drapion has play into the entirety of my team. We're going to farm up, bank a Foul Play, make the pivot into Lapras. The opponent stays in, farm up to the Double Crunch. You don't want to shield the first one in case they get the defense drop. It's only a 20% chance nowadays, as opposed to a 30% one. The opponent tries to catch a Sparkling Aria onto Blastoise. I hold my energy, full send the Skull Bash, force the Protect shield. I kind of wish that landed, but it kind of is what it is. Here I do commit to the Skull Bash, looking to force some energy. The opponent fire off the Hydro Cannon, removing Lapras from the field of play. I send back out Sableye, go for the correct one Shadow Claw and the Foul Play, which should be optimal timing, but clearly we've got one turn bring in as it ends up being a charge attack priority. I think at this point we've all got to completely change how we play the game. What even is optimal timing anymore? Can someone tell me? Because with this one turn, who even knows? We're going to put all our hopes and dreams on Cradily. We're going to need both these shields to block up this huge amount of energy Drapion's got. The opponent is going to farm up to the Double Crunch. It's now only a 20% chance of getting the defense drop, so basically 1 in 5. So not that likely, so I'm more than happy to 2-shield here. The opponent is energy dry, so they're going to be 5 off the Crunch. However, I'm intentionally only going to throw 3 acids, because if I would have thrown 4, they probably would have cap-tied me on the Aqua Tail, getting off some chip damage. Rock Tomb removes them from the field of play, and out comes Mandibuzz. We're able to outpace to the Rock Tomb. A Rock Tomb should be forcing the opponent's final protection, and it does exactly that. And at this point, we know the catch is coming, you've just got to be patient. Mandibuzz on Air Slash is very slow to charge moves. The opponent ends up throwing on alignment, giving me a free acid. They fire off the Dark Pulse simply does not cut it. There's the pivot into Blastoise. Blastoise gets farmed down. Here I am going to instant throw. We don't get a denial. Not that it really matters, as that air/debuff won't be moving me from the field of play. We're doubled up on Rock Tomb, and we are going to be able to emerge victorious. GG's to that opponent. From what I gather, those of us that play on Android do have more issues than those that play on iPhone. Clearly that opponent was an iPhone user. They didn't get one turn bring in. In the next battle, we see Jumpluff in the lead position. We're going to farm up, attempt to catch the Aerial Ace Bait, or likely Aerial Ace Bait, onto Lapras. My catch attempt unsuccessful, and the opponent actually energy balled me to the face. Ouch. My opponent returns the favour, attempting to catch an Ice Beam onto the Jellyfish. We're just going to go straight Sparkling Aria, of course. You don't really want to Skull Bash a Ghost type, as Ghost does double resist normal. These Sparkling Arias are only single resisted and do add up over time. Opponent is going to get a massive Hex farm down, but as long as we don't get one turn bring in, I can deny this energy, firing off the foul play. Please game, please work. Holy shit, can you believe it? We don't get one turn bring in. Sableye able to fire off the foul play, winning charge attack priority. The opponent can throw whatever they like. I'm already decided that I'm putting all my hopes and dreams on Cradily. The opponent fire off the Shadow Ball, then chuck a Surf. So clearly double Surf would have been more energy efficient, but it is what it is. We send out Cradily. Cradily looks at the resisted acid farm down, which we're able to get. The opponent then sends out Jumpluff. I've got 2 shields. I'm going to respect this move. The opponent actually running twin nukes with acrobatics. You love to see it. The opponent then tried to make a catch onto Marowak. Catch attempt unsuccessful. He's forcing the Grass Knot. Grass Knot sneaks through the Protect Shield. We're going to be able to acid farm him down before they reach a Bone Club. Back out comes Jumpluff. The opponent sees the writing on the wall. Shout out Home Slice Henry for that quote. And they concede the match. Heading into the next battle, we see Drifblim in the lead position. Look at the lag. Holy moly. I don't even know if that is good timing. Who even knows? But 7 is usually what you want to throw, which I did throw there. Foul play. Forced to Protect Shield. We then 1 and anticipate the opponent go over an Icy Wind. So we catch it on Lapras where it is double resisted. We're now stuck with a -1 attack. However, as Gastrodon hits the field of play, the -1 attack doesn't really make too much of a difference, as double Sparkling Aria will still knock him out with the residual Psy Waves. I am going to respect a potential Earth Power, as I don't really have a great way of getting rid of this Gastrodon, as my Sableye is already severely chipped. We correctly shield up the Earth Power, over farm, fire off the next Sparkling Aria, and from this range, Sparkling Aria will be moving them from the field of play. Down goes Gastrodon, back out comes Drifblim. Drifblim looking for that farm down, unable to get it before one further Sparkling Aria is reached. Sparkling Aria forced to Protect Shield. We pivot into Sableye and just look to force the energy. I don't think there's much point in shielding this, so we're going to be stuck with a -1 attack. I think it's better just to sack Sableye, send out Cradily for an energy lead with a shield advantage. Let's go Dilly. The opponent pivots out into their own Cradily. We've got an energy lead and a shield advantage, and I'm sure you can all tell how this one's going to end. We fire off the first Rock Tomb, doing half their health. We can just shield up whatever the opponent throws. They recognise they simply cannot win the match, and they do concede. Heading into the next battle, we see the Angry Ape in the lead position. A great matchup for me. Out comes Diggersby. I think I should instantly go Lapras here, to be honest. I don't know what's going on with my gameplay at the minute. I'm just so tilted all the time. My decision making is horrendous. The heat probably doesn't help either. I guess my thought process is that after landing a foul play, they will be in Sparkling Aria range, but we misalign the switch clock, which is never really something you want to do. GBL isn't that complicated sometimes. Keep the correct alignment, win the battle. It looks like the opponent going to fight for switch advantage, and to be honest, I do need switch advantage as Cradily on acid is atrocious into Annihilate. We're going to farm up, throw the next Sparkling Aria. The opponent goes all in on Diggersby, and here I don't want to get baited, so I guess you can just have my Lapras. We are going to lose switch, but we have at least got a shield advantage. The opponent falls in the Scorching Sands, quick attack farm me down. We're of course going to send out Cradily, Annihilate, very glassy, so as long as we've got residual energy good to go. I'm probably going to farm up to 100 energy, double Grass Knot, meaning we're going to have a Grass Knot to chuck at the returning ape. You can see here, I did actually try and throw on CMP. Again, that's not CMP, that is just the game stuttering. So I guess we definitely are going to go to 100, although at first I was just going to cap tie, trying to keep health, but it kind of is what it is. At this point, I guess I just moan at every single battle, because every single battle is absolutely atrocious. The opponent sends out Mandibuzz. This is why we're on Gleam. In fairness, Power Gem would still do the same. Both hit for super effective, and with a shield advantage, we should be home and dry. We're going to shield up whatever the opponent throws. They go for the Aerial Ace Bait, but no bait is ever saving this Mandibuzz's fate. The next Gleam will be removing them from the field of play. Annihilate isn't going to be able to counter farm me down. They're going to be forced to chuck energy. They do that on CMP. We've definitely Shadow Clawed them into range where a Grass Knot will knock them out. Rage Fist vamps up their attack, but it's all in vain. Cradily already with the Grass Knot locked and loaded, and that is going to be all she wrote. Heading into the next battle, we see Greninja in the lead position. Another problem Pokemon for this team. So good time with them being an odd number. So we throw 4 Shadow Claws, anticipating the opponent going for 3 and throwing a charge. We were able to make the catch onto Lapras. The opponent there actually went for the Hydro Cannon. Both Hydro Cannon resisted, and a neutral Night Slash do exactly the same amount of damage. But it's nice to catch a Hydro Cannon as it doesn't give the opponent potential to boost. They then throw the Night Slash. Lapras shrugs off the damage, fires off a Sparkling Aria, which is resisted, but Greninja doesn't really tank anything particularly well. Lapras has done its job. I'm just going to let it go down and send out Cradily. Watch this. As I get brought in, the opponent won and throw. So that's 3 turns. I send out Cradily. What the heck is that? We just get 1 turn and then get denied on alignment unless we lag for 2 turns. What is going on with this game? Honestly, I'm bamboozled. So I'm now 1 quick move less than I should have had, and that is actually going to be quite detrimental to how this battle plays out. Out comes Drifblim. We are going to go for the correct 4 acids and the Rock Tomb, trying to throw it good timing despite game state being awful. We force the first Protect Shield, go for the wham, bam, combo play, fire off the foul play, giving the opponent the Big Mac and the fries. They very quickly find themselves all shields down. Of course, this is going to be an icy wind. I've got 2 shields. It might be a good idea to start using them. Out comes Clodsire. Debuff Sableye is going to output so a very little fast move pressure, and the charge move is also not going to do much of anything either. I'm kind of obliged to shield this move up. The opponent fire off the Stone Edge, which is good information to know that they don't have Sludge Bomb. I'm going to farm up as much as I physically can, try to make the catch. You can see there we die at the Grass Knot. If we would have got that 1 quick move in, we should have got. Of course, Grass Knot would put them into foul play range. Yet again, we lose this battle due to game mechanics. You can see we're doubled up on foul play. So Grass Knot into foul play would have removed Clodsire. Even if they made a catch, we're doubled up. 1 foul play for each Pokemon. You kind of get the idea. Honestly, this game is infuriating at times. Heading into the next battle, we see Gliscopod in the lead position. Another somewhat problematic Pokemon for me. Of course, Cradily doesn't really want to see it either. We're going to shoot at the Aqua Jet, over farm, baiting a potential power gem. Of course, we haven't got it, but you've always got to fake it till you make it. I'm then going to farm up, look to catch the Aqua Jet onto Lapras where it will be resisted damage. Aqua Jet doesn't do too much of anything. The opponent then going to look to rebank a charge move before sending out public enemy number 1, Bastiodon. Even though I'm a Shadow variant, 2 Hydro Cannons don't knock out. The opponent's also rocking the shiny. I hate Bastiodon, but at least the shiny does look kind of cool. The second Sparkle Aria going to put them into the red health range, which definitely is foul play range, and we've also got a foul play banked. This actually puts me in a good position, because if the opponent want to get off this charge move, it's going to cost them a Protect Shield. Of course, we get 1 turn bring in. Not only do we get 1 turn bring in, it ends up being delayed CMP. You couldn't make this up. I'm now forced into an undercharge. The reason I've undercharged that, I need to get some kind of advantage for the game screwing me. I attempted to acid farm down. The opponent not wanting to concede a farm down. I send out Diggersby. It's my third, advantageous to their third, despite the game running like absolute shit. Perhaps we've got a chance of winning this battle. Then to add insult to injury, of course we get attack dropped. I'm going to fire off the next Grass Knot, winning CMP. Grass Knot sneaks through the Protect Shield. The opponent sends back out Gliscopod. These Fury Cutters tearing through my HP. We farm up, make the catch, back onto Sableye, giving myself a slim but fighting chance. Win con for me is going to be trying to acid farm down everything. Bastiodon is insanely low. My acids are triple resisted. The opponent, in my opinion, makes a mistake, throwing a charge move, sneaking me a free acid. We are able to acid farm down Bastiodon, but unfortunately 1 Fury Cutter knocks me out, and despite making 2 catches in that battle, it does end in heartbreaking defeat. I don't even know how I still make content or even play this game. Honestly, every single battle's like this. Glitch, 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 glitch. Come on, Jamie Finn, stop crying like a baby. The odds are stacked against you. You still got to make it happen. In the next battle, things aren't looking great as we lead Sableye into Pidgeot. We bet out Annihilate, and the Sideways have certainly done a number on this Annihilate. I actually know his opponent, and he said here he should have got off the Rage Fist, so perhaps once I'm actually beneficiary of the poor game state. Back out comes Pidgeot. We're going to chip with the foul play and make the pivot into King Cradily. Foul play goes unshielded. We do make the pivot into Cradily. I doubt they're on Feather Dance anymore. I believe it's going to be an Air Cutter. This is a pretty safe shield. It is an Air Cutter. I'm then going to overfarm, fire off the Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb will be forcing the final Protect Shield or picking up the 1-hit KO. My opponent invests that Protect Shield. This could be a Brave Bird, which I will be respecting. My opponent full send a Brave Bird. Then pivot out into Diggersby, and we already look home and dry. We're not in Scorching Sands range. We've got an energy and 2 grass knots do knock out. Once again, we make the catch onto Sableye. Again, a bit unnecessary, but I am super frustrated, and it just kind of is what it is. We may as well try and make these battles as entertaining as possible. We farm up, throw the foul play on the charge attack priority. Foul play removes Diggersby from the field of play. We're going to double resisted Shadow Claw down Pidgeot and take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see Marowak in the lead position. I hate this lead, because whenever I see it, I already think the opponent's going to 2-shield, try and force alignment, and RPS the back line. I guess you can't hate the player, hate the game. It's a very viable strategy. As much as I hate fast move pressure, in the current game state, I don't hate anyone using it. I think it's probably the easiest way to kind of get consistent results. If you get a huge amount of stutter lag and you magically catch up, then oppressive fast moves tear for opponents. We're able to force both protections off this Marowak. We've got a shield advantage. I'm going to send out Lapras. If the opponent farms to the rock side, I will respect it. They're probably only reaching 1 move, so I see no reason to bait. We correctly shield at the rock side. The opponent not wanting to see the farm down. Pivot out into Cradily. Interesting one in Bullet Seed. If we had Ice Beam here, we'd land massive super effective damage. We haven't got it, so we settle for the Sparkling Aria, then make the catch and the sneak onto Cradily. That sneak's very important, as it means we're now going to pace at the same speed to this charge move. However, who has the higher attack? Clearly not me, unfortunate. If the opponent grass knot, then knock me out. If they rock tomb, we will survive. I'm actually going to undercharge this, and the thought process is there's no point knocking this out, so just concede farm to whatever their third is. However, switch timers are misaligned, the opponent makes the pivot into Clodsire. We're going to land the grass knot, we pivot into Lapras, but we're going to get outpaced. If they've got Stone Edge, it is curtains for me. Does the opponent have Stone Edge? Of course they do. There literally is nothing I can do. The opponent takes that game. GG's buddy, well played. Heading into the next battle. We see Jumpluff in the lead position once again. We're going to farm to 7 and attempt to catch an Aerial Ace bait, or what I assume will be an Aerial Ace bait, onto Lapras. This time the plan goes according to the plan, and we are able to catch the Aerial Ace onto Lapras. We've already been Energy Ball to the face once. Are we about to get Energy Ball to the face twice? Oh, yes we are. The opponent then sends out their own Lapras and they're able to sideways snipe me down. However, this isn't the worst scenario to be in. We've now got this Lapras switch locked into our Sableye, and the non-stab sideways hit him a double resist. It is dark, does double resist Psychic. One Sparkling Aria is survivable. However, I'm actually going to shield this move up, looking to keep health on Sableye, knowing that Jumpluff did dump its energy. We then farm up, throw the foul play on the charge attack priority, and give the opponent a decision to make. Foul play, force my Protect Shield back. We are going to tank this next Sparkling Aria. It won't be lethal, it will leave us low. We've got to be mindful that Jumpluff might try and snipe with some Fairy Winds. There's the snipe attempt. We bank our energy, and Cradily hits the field of play. We've already seen this Jumpluff's moveset. It's Energy Ball, Aerial Ace. There's no acrobatics. I'm more than willing to tank whatever they throw. We then overfarm, fire off the Rock Tomb, looking to apply some shield pressure. Rock Tomb removes Jumpluff from the field of play. Lapras is still alive, but will outpace the Rock Tomb, and it kind of depends on what their third is. Back out comes Lapras. We're going to fire off the Rock Tomb. Once again, giving the opponent a decision to make. Rock Tomb removes them from the field of play. Out comes Greninja, and here we should have a pretty straightforward path to victory. I'm just going to full send the grass knot after throwing 1 acid. I'm then going to wait for the animation to start of the water shrieking and snipe of a gleam. The opponent recognises we've got the gleam bank. Look to call the bait. Hashtag no baits on this channel, and we take that game. In the next battle, we see Shadow and Shadow Crime very much in my favour. The opponent say switches into Drapion, a problematic Pokemon. So I'm going to fire off the foul play, force some chip damage, and send out Lapras. 1 foul play should put them into Sparkling Aria range. The issue with chipping is, though, we give this Drapion a huge energy and they are going to be able to outpace the back-to-back crunches. Lapras going to put up that Protect Shield, blocking up the next crunch. I'm then going to farm up, throw the Sparkling Aria before the opponent reaches the next crunch. This is only an Aqua Tail, and Aqua Tail should be survivable. Lapras just about hangs on, but this now sets up the opportunity for the opponent to shield and realign if they wish. The opponent doesn't look to realign. Send out Annihilate. We send Sableye back into the arena. The opponent isn't switch locked here, so it begs the question, what is that third? I'm just going to shield this move up. The opponent continued to stay in. They get fully Shadow Claw farm down, unable to reach 1 further move. The opponent then sends out Diggersby. So I'm kind of confused why the opponent played like that. We're going to throw this next foul play on the CMP tie. The opponent still has 2 shields. They've got to shield something. I actually thought it'd be outside of Fire Punch range, but spoiler alert, this Fire Punch does knock me out. But regardless, when they see Cradily, they probably should top left, recognising they cannot win this game. Cradily hits the field of play. The opponent thinks they've probably got a wink on by me going for the world's most pointless bait. Yeah, I'm not baiting. Grass Knot sneaks through the Protect Shield and we take that game. In the next battle, we see Fortress in the lead position. Look at the Bug Bites go, man. Holy crap, Bug Bite this season does crazy damage, especially when it's Shadow on Shadow Crime. We strike first, throwing the foul play before the opponent potentially fire off a Rock Tomb at debuff for my attack. The last one Sand Tombed me. This one does Rock Tomb me. However, I still think this foul play I come very close to knocking out. Even at -1, the Shadow Claws have chipped. We're able to land the foul play, able to Shadow Claw farm down. You can see I'm spamming the switch. We pivot out into Lapras, and out comes Marowak. We're going to go straight for the Sparkling Aria and look to apply that shield pressure. Sparkling Aria forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. Here the opponent makes a huge mistake. They end up throwing on CMP. As is CMP, I can just shield. We're going to have a 3 versus 1 scenario. Opponent go for the Bone Club bait. The poor old Marowak going to be straight in and straight out. The opponent revealed Diggersby in the back. They concede and we're heading on to the next battle. Once again, we see Greninja in the lead positions. If you see a Greninja lead, shout out the OG GOAT, FP Sticks, who started streaming once again. Not only streaming, post on YouTube. I 100% recommend go checking him out. But his team is this thing with Dusclops and Clodsire in the back. Last time we lost to this team, so let's see if I'm able to make an adjustment. It looks like here we end up throwing on alignment, but if you look at Dusclops, it looks like they actually started there. So they should have got that Hex through anyway, which they do. The opponent looking for that full Hex farm down, allowing Lapras to reach yet another Sparkling Aria, and this now puts me in a fantastic position. The opponent might have all the energy in the world. However, unless they've got Poltergeist, we are able to survive any one move. Once again, we get denied. Game. Ah, you kidding me? Once again, that denial is detrimental to this battle, as the opponent clearly died to that next Shadow Claw, so they would have only reached one move. Oh, such an infuriating experience. We force in the Gleam, forcing the Protect Shield. We're then going to farm up, once again make the catch onto Cradily, looking to bait that Clodsire onto the field of play. Call me Mystic Meg, how do I know it's Clodsire in the back? Let's not kid ourselves. Those of us that still play this game at this point are die hard. Anyone that's playing probably watches content, and of course this is just going to be FP Sticks line. I don't really know where to shield. I end up shielding this up. The opponent falls in the Earthquake. We're going to throw one further Grass Knot, but the asses are doing literally like one each turn. The second Grass Knot isn't quite lethal. I thought about making a catch, but even if I catch, we're going to get outpaced with Cradily. I need to hope we can reach double charge moves. Out comes Greninja once again. If we actually got our quick move in there, we would have outpaced the Gleam. So we've lost this battle for numerous different reasons, and all of them are because Scopely have put together a game that runs like shit. But regardless, it's not my opponent's fault, so we're going to say GG's and move on to the next one. I apologise to anyone that's new to this channel thinking, my gosh, this guy's negative about this game. I used to love this game, to be honest. I still do love it, hence I still play and hence I still upload. But this game state is inexcusable. It is awful. I don't know what it's going to take for Scopely, Niantic, the Pokemon Company, Play Pokemon, whoever's in charge at this point to do something. Because honestly, how many people are still playing at this point? I'm having queue times at like 25-50. There are people at like 2900. So my ELO is by no means impressive. It just shows you how few people are tolerating this nonsense. However, returning to the commentary, out comes Gliscopod. We're full send of the bash. Does the opponent respect the damage? They do not. Even debuff, they near get one shot. Then pivot out into Diggersby. We send out King Cradily, even down to Protect Shield. This is a very nice position to be in. I'm a big fan of Shadow Diggersby, and my top tip will be if you Cradily into a Diggersby, don't throw bloody Rock Tombs. I actually laugh at how many people Rock Tomb my Diggersby, and I just stand there grinning away, shrugging off the damage. We land the Grass Knot, the opponent going to fire off one further Scorching Sands, which doesn't get the job done. Reach the Grass Knot, this is either going to knock out or force a Protect Shield. The opponent obliges, putting up that Protect Shield. We snipe with Lapras. Diggersby going to get vanquished, back to its Pokeball. The opponent is solo, a couple of sideways, knock out their Gliscopod, and we are able to end today's video with a big fat dub. And that is just about going to wrap up things for today's shoutcast. Once again, I apologise for the frustrated commentary, but game state isn't improving. Day by day, I think it gets worse and worse. I'm only a small voice, but I do my absolute best. I've reached out on Twitter numerous times, and I am being ignored. I think we need like a community to pull together and try and get Scopely to do something about this horrendous game state that is honestly killing views on YouTube, killing people's motivation to play it, and just killing the game overall. With all that being said, if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button if you're new, consider subscribing if you'd like your battles featured on my channel. A link to my battle submission form is down below, and as always, huge thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.